If you're putting things off, it's probably not because you're lazy. It's because you're avoiding discomfort. As a videographer and podcaster and entrepreneur, I avoid lots of stuff. Reaching out to clients that I think might say no, sending out invoices that have a higher price on it than I'm used to, doing the edits themselves because maybe I don't think that they're going to be good enough. I avoid all kinds of things. It's like my brain wants certainty before I start, before I even begin the task or the project. Like I want to know that it's going to work out well. That's the perfectionist in me for sure. But the catch-22 there is that there is no certainty in creative work. It's all kind of a risk, or better yet, it's a bet, and you're betting on you're betting on yourself, which is tricky all in itself. So if that sounds like you and you're anything like me, then maybe these tips that have helped me can help you. Things like this are pretty common, but I feel like maybe you don't hear enough from other people that it's not just you. Maybe dealing with these problems on your own is overwhelming. I know it has been for me from time to time. So I've adopted a few tools or tips that kind of help me get through these things so I can get my work done. Because at the end of the day, it's just you. It's just me. I don't work for a team. I don't work for a company. I work for me. And if I can't get past these things, these roadblocks that are somewhat self-imposed, then nothing's going to get done. So the first thing is make it smaller. A lot of times the issues or the projects or the task or the thing that you're actually avoiding might seem overwhelming because maybe it is. Maybe it's your first time doing it. Maybe it's something you're not used to doing, or you haven't gotten into any sort of a rhythm yet. And there's lots of different steps or variables or things that are overwhelming. Maybe there's aspects of it that you have done before, but never like this. So the first thing is to break that task or that project or whatever it is, break it down. Break it down into small parts. It's like that saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If it's an edit, then just rename it. Cut it in half. Break it down into small bits. Maybe just do one version or one pass. Maybe, you just get into the edit, you do one pass with how you think it's going to go, and then call it a day. Move on to the next part of it. Move on to the color, move on to the sound. And then before you know it, you have all of these different individual small parts that you've done that make it a whole. And before you know it, it's finished. And you look back and yeah, you had a few hours per each project or per each part of it. But all in all, you got through it. You got finished. And finished is always better than perfect. The second bit, or the second step to this 3-step process, is something I like to call the ugly start. We always want perfection, especially when we care about the projects and it's a creative endeavor. Creativity and creative endeavors have a lot of personal attachments because it's you. It's coming from your personality. It's coming from your mind. It's coming from your experience. So it's very personal. So you want it to be perfect. You want it to be great from the beginning, which it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be great from the beginning. That's just how it goes. So something I like to do to kind of get over that, the roadblock of just even starting it because I want it to be perfect from the beginning, is the ugly start. You could set yourself a timer for 10 minutes, start it finish it for no longer than 10 minutes, and then that's it. That's your beginning. That's your start. And then you move on to the next thing. Now, you can always come back to this ugly start and refine it and tune it and make it so that it fits into your project nicely. But finished is better than perfect. And the key here is you set yourself a timer, which gives you guidelines, and then you just start. And whatever you get done within that 10-minute time period, it's done. It's set. Then you move on to the next task. You can always go back and change things. But this is one of those mind hacks that I like to use because I know who I am. I know my tendency is to not start it because it's not perfect or I don't have all the tools. I need to download some new plugins. I need to get more context from the client or whatever it is. So giving myself this 10-minute ugly start task gives me a couple of things. One, it gives me some momentum and movement on the project, which feels good. Progress always feels good when it was hard to start it. It also gives me a win. It gives me something that I can say that I've done. And as I know, and as you know, I've talked about before, a win's a win. It also makes you want to get another win. And then the last thing, the last little bit that helps me through a lot of this is define the next action. So when you're done with the 10-minute ugly start, define the next thing you're going to do. And that can be moving on to the next step of the project. That can be sending an invoice to a client, replying to an email. That can be any number of things. But having that next step set and ready to go so that you're not scrambling and looking around and not sure what to do and I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Have that ready to go. So you're not second guessing, well, I did this and now I should do that. And you're bouncing back and forth between different things. And then again, you're in this cycle where nothing gets done. So after that 10-minute ugly start, you can say, all right, I'm going to close out the project and then I'm going to reply to that email that I never replied. Or I'm replying to that DM from someone who is possibly interested in working with me, but I'm not sure if I'm qualified. Doing all of these things in this order gives you a couple of things that you don't see from the top down. You may not see from the big picture. They give you structure in a place that doesn't have any structure. Structure, believe it or not, sounds like a corporate term or rhetoric, can be beneficial, especially in the creative space. Even a little bit of structure. It provides anchor points throughout your day, throughout your process, for you to refer to, for you to bounce back to when you start to inevitably spiral or run into self-doubt. So if you're anything like me, you're not lazy. You're just avoiding things that are uncomfortable. As a video producer, as a podcaster, as a entrepreneur, these are just a few things that help me. Hopefully they help you. Subscribe for more.